welcome to BizTalk, and this is a program which we will discuss matters concerning the national key economic areas and companies that involves directly or indirectly to the economic transformation program. And I am your host, Suryati Sanusi. And today we are talking about building a hospitality and tourism cluster. And today we have Dato Peter Ng, the chairman of UCSI Group. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Sue.
Right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll get to know you a little bit more. So, Dato Peter, if I'm not mistaken, you are the founder of UCSI. Could you tell us a little bit on that?
Right. I returned to Malaysia in 1986. It was one of the worst economic recession, I suppose, at that time.
Okay.
And so I started to go into computer software packages training.
I see.
Yes, and that's how the whole university and the group started.
Okay.
So slowly, from training institute, we continue on to academic areas such as business, engineering, and so we grew slowly, step by step.
And back then, how many were you when you first started with UCSI?
It was a very, very small setup.
Okay.
I believe at that time my dad gave me 2,000 ringgit.
Okay.
And that was all. And I came home from Canada as a broke graduate with very little, nothing at all from in my pocket. So my dad gave me 2,000, and that's how we started.
But what makes you decided to open up an education center? Back when you said the economic was not really well.
Right. Well, the real main factor was the fact that I wanted to be the master of my own schedule, my own time.
Right.
I had some other things that I wanted to do as well along the side.
Okay.
So I thought if I were to work for a company, I would not have the freedom and the liberty. So setting up my own company and doing teaching and giving one-to-one kind of class would allow me to do so.
Right.
So that was a real main reason why I went into something of that small scale.
Right, and then fast forward to the current time, and now you are concentrating on tourism and hospitality, being part of the UCSI. Could you tell us a little bit on that?
Yeah, in the group portfolios, we have basically 5 portfolios. Leisure and properties, as well as hotel, is also under the radar of the group in areas where we would invest.
Okay.
Right at that time too, there was this Bernama initiative in calling for labs and stuff like that.
Yes.
So because of that, we went to the lab and we got interested in one of the initiatives, which is under the Education NKEA.
Yeah, part of the EPP.
Yeah.
And from there, you set up MyCenTHE.
Right.
So a little bit background on MyCenTHE.
Well, MyCenTHE was founded in May 2011.
Okay.
Right. But the EPP 10 was launched in November 2010. Right. So UCSI was appointed as the owner of EPP 10.
Right.
So we set up what we call the IMT, Independent Management Team, to run this EPP 10.
Okay.
And so in and around the month of February, we began to realize that MyCenTHE, which stands for Malaysian Center for Tourism and Hospitality Education, was APE, because we need a place where we would focus on curriculum development, develop a different cluster within the tourism and hospitality education.
Right.
So then MyCenTHE was formed.
Right. Okay. And we also have a clip on MyCenTHE and also UCSI. So let's take a look at the clip right now.
Hospitality and tourism management is a multidisciplinary field with the purpose of preparing people with the expertise, commitment, and skills for management, marketing, and operation positions in the expanding industry that provides food, accommodation, and tourism services to people far away from home. My recent visit to UCSI in Cheras has helped me to understand the actual role of every individual that is in the tourism and hospitality field. Hospitality and tourism draws upon a wide range of basic disciplinary to provide the fundamentals knowledge and skills that are required to fulfill the diverse demands placed upon individuals in management positions within the hospitality industry. The Malaysia Centre of Tourism and Hospitality Education, or MyCenTHE for short, is a national initiative under the Economic Transformation Programme launched with an aim of providing Malaysia's expanding tourism and hospitality industry with a quality human capital.
I'll choose my menu based on everyday's mood. I'll use the word mood because when I see today is so sad, probably I might think of something more freshening, so that more forget about your sad things, and then probably you enjoy a nice fresh, probably say something sweet. You know? Or sometimes I feel that I've gone through a market, I see there's some new ingredients available. Probably I will look into planning a menu based on the availabilities of the ingredients.
This program is expected to raise the standards in the tourism and hospitality industry through its tailored training program. This was originally an entry point project out of the 131 projects under the Government Economic Transformation Program. MyCenTHE is under the Education National Key Economics area that aims to create 50,000 works annually within the hotel and tourism industry and raise the sector average wage to 4,000 Malaysia ringgit by 2020.
The MyCenTHE program does not only promise a better future for students, it also trains students in facing the real tourism world when it comes to practical and also theory. In long term, this MyCenTHE program is also promising a better tourism economy in 2020. I'm Nora Ashraf reporting for BizTalk.
Right, the university looks interesting, looks delicate. Could you tell us a little bit more on the equipment or the courses that you have there?
Right. What you have just seen is basically the Faculty of Hospitality and Hotel Management.
Yes.
You saw actually our kitchen labs for commercial setting,
right?
Also for student kitchen, the hotel reception area.
Yes.
We actually run a hotel within the university,
I see.
so that our students could practice right on the campus.
I see.
Right.
And could you tell us a little bit on the programs that you have there as well? Yeah.
The faculty is actually situated in Kuching. In Kuching, Sarawak. But in KL campus, we at the moment make two programs available for the KL students.
Okay, which
so
are?
in Cheras, we have a diploma in hotel management and also a diploma in culinary arts.
I see.
Right. So in Kuching, we have a lot more. We have courses in also hotel management, culinary area, leisure and recreation,
right.
Event management, and then also, of course, degree courses in the relevant areas.
Right, okay, we'll take a short break right now, and when we come back, we'll talk more on this matter right here on BizTalk.
Catch Bernama Today every weekday from 9 a.m. onwards for the latest news, lifestyle stories, interesting personalities, only on Bernama TV.
Menyelami realiti, menjejaki masa, meninjau peristiwa, paparan kronikal kembara kehidupan, pelbagai keunikan juga pengalaman menarik dari dalam dan luar negara. Segalanya disorotkan selama setengah jam dalam jurnal Bernama setiap Ahad jam 9.30 malam hanya di Bernama TV.
Sedar tak kita tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, keadaan iklim yang tak menentu sekarang ni. Perubahan iklim meningkatkan kejadian kemarau, derebu, banjir dan ia menyumbang kepada perubahan iklim yang berlaku secara drastik. Inilah dia faktor-faktornya. Yang pertama, asap dari kenderaan. Yang kedua, penebangan dan pembakaran hutan. Yang ketiga, pembebasan asap dari industri perkilangan. Dan yang keempat, pelupusan sisa buangan. Ini usaha yang Pak Abu buat, iaitu yang pertama, menanam pokok. Yang kedua, mengurangkan atau tidak menggunakan beg plastik. Yang ketiga, mengasingkan bahan buangan. Yang keempat, mengitar semula bahan buangan. Dan yang kelima, memilih barangan dari bahan kita semula. Ada banyak lagi usaha yang boleh kita lakukan. Antaranya, kurangkan pemanduan kereta persendirian dan banyakkan penggunaan kenderaan awam.
Anda adalah sebahagian daripada penyelesaiannya.
Right, thanks for staying with us on BizTalk. If you have any comments, you can email us at biztalk@bernama-tv.com, or you can tweet us at biztalk502, or you can call us right now at 0326937008. And today we're talking about building a hospitality and tourism cluster with Dato Peter Ng, the chairman of UCSI Group. Now, we talked about MyCenTHE earlier, and I want to know the purpose of it formed based on the NKEA.
Basically, there are three purposes.
Okay.
Yeah. First is to address the issue of human capital.
Okay.
According to the Economic Transformation Program, Malaysia is targeting at having 36 million tourist arrivals by 2020. Now, that actually translates to about $60 billion of revenue for the country. Now, in order to achieve that, we are now about 500,000 short of qualified personnel.
I see.
Right. And that can also be translated into about 50,000 of new graduates, at least at diploma level, per year by 2020.
Right.
So MyCenTHE primary goal, in fact, is to address this issue, whether we could achieve 50,000 graduates per year from 2020 onward. And these are people from diploma level minimum.
Only? Okay.
Yeah. Diploma and degree level, or minimum diploma level.
Right.
Second purpose is to address this career prospect with the inclusion of technology, with the advanced curriculum design and so forth. What we want to do is, through this center, to also increase the industry average wage per month. Right now, it stands at 2,000
per month.
Per month.
Okay.
Yeah? The industry average wage. Now we want to increase that to at least 4,000.
Right.
4,000, the average.
Right.
Yeah, for the
and this
industry.
is for various positions in hospitality.
Various position, and we take a average out of various different position, from the entry level to people who are at above mid-range and so forth. Yeah.
Okay.
And the third purpose is actually to correct the societal perception.
Okay.
That, you know, there is this stereotyping things about
working in hotel industry.
Exactly, in tourism industry. Yeah.
Right, and interesting enough that we also interviewed Kit Tong, she is the head of School of Tourism of Berjaya University College of Hospitality.
Right.
So let's take a look at the package right now.
When you talk to a parent and say that, you know, would your son or daughter like to work in a hospitality industry, first thing they say, what, to be a waiter and waitresses? Right, so that kind of bad image is unfortunately still sticks. But the reality is, if the child is good and very service orientated, you know, they can actually work all the way up to be a GM, a general manager of a hotel, in international brand even, you know. In events it's even more easy. You can be your own entrepreneur, right? You can set up your own event business with very little investment, okay? It's just your skills and your technical knowledge. You know, if you have that good personality, right, you can go very far. You know, you can build your own empire if you like, right? And in Malaysia, there's a lot of opportunities for this because, you know, our tourism industry is growing. Our special events industry is growing, our MICE industry is growing. At the moment, we just do a lot of education roadshows. You know, we do career talks, and we invite school kids to come and to our kitchen, for example, you know, to learn to do basic sandwiches and stuff like that. And also, we work very closely with television channel like AFC, Asian Food Channel. So, of course, you know, all these food channel has created a lot of buzz and elevated the status of culinary courses. A lot of kids nowadays want to be like Chef One and celebrity chefs and all that. So we need icons. We need, you know, icons in each of the different disciplines: hospitality, tourism, events, and retail. You know, that would actually make our job a lot more easier. So we can say you can aspire to be like Chef One, you know, and that to them it's like, I can see my future. But if you say that you work in a tourism industry, for example, it's like, you know, they can't really place where is it, okay? But if, let's say, for events, you can say, like, you imagine you can organize an event as big as Olympics, you know, then they know the full impact of it, you know. Then the parents will go, oh, okay, you know, they could be a career path. But actually, events, the skills is very transferable. Hospitality skills is transferable, okay? You can work after that, you can work in other service sector, yeah, because we train them so well. Yeah.
Right, Dato. In your opinion, how can we abolish all these stereotypes that we have, especially people living in rural areas, when they say, especially their daughters wants to work in hotels and being waiter and waitresses, right. It's a no-no for them. So, right. Your opinion on this? Right.
One of the things that we did in the past with MyCenTHE was that we take our people, our team. To rural area, and we conduct workshops and seminars to educate them, to help people to understand, like what Ms. Kit Tong just said, right. You know, there's so much potential, so much thing you could do.
Yes.
Many can actually aspire to become entrepreneur themselves.
Yes.
You can become a celebrity chef even.
Yes.
There is no boundary where what you could explore in right. in this whole tourism and hospitality right. Area. So we want to bring the career prospect. We want to bring programs and make it accessible to them right. through what we call CSR project.
Right.
So these are just some of the creative ways that we can help to correct the stereotyping thinking as well.
Right, and you mentioned, you know, accessible education, right. And also I think affordable is also another matter,
right.
Especially concerning the rural people, which they do not have enough money to send their children to in whatever majors that they want to go. Right. So what would MyCenTHE do to help these kind of people?
Yeah. One of the aims we set to accomplish is to encourage our providers through MyCenTHE to make their programs about 25% cheaper than the usual market rate.
Oh, okay.
So that is one way to ensure that the program can be more accessible. Second is to offer scholarship to these deserving individuals. And of course, there are other ways as well, which we are talking about right now.
Okay.
For example, many hoteliers are not keen to take in interns and stuff like that because they have to pay for their work.
Yes.
So we are hoping also through the help of what we call HRDF fund, whereby the hoteliers could actually make use of their HRDF fund to pay the various interns who come to work in the hotel.
Right.
So in that way, we can make the program more accessible as well. Yeah, and there's another way of also making it more accessible is through it's by extending what we call PTPK loans, which is actually a fund that is available for the SMK people under the Human Resource Ministry.
Okay.
So if our student could also apply for such a fund, then it will again open up more options for our students to make fund available.
Right.
So these are just some of the things that MyCenTHE is actively pursuing.
Right.
And
are they also helping out these students, especially the ones with potential to seek all these funds?
Yeah, well, certain things have to be open to them once it is approved by the relevant authority.
Right.
Before it is approved, we have to go and make these options available. And we have to also to bring news and understanding to them in the rural area because they have no understanding at all about what is happening in this field.
Right.
Many parents have wrong perception, wrong concept of hospitality and tourism industry.
Right. Well, probably we can talk more on that after we take a short break right here on BizTalk.
Why peace? The world will tell you this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs, this is what the world needs. But 7 billion people on the face of this earth are crying out for one thing and one thing alone, and that is peace. And peace is not the absence of war. I travel not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Prem Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discover the peace that lies within you.
Be alert on weekly business updates. Get to know the secret of success, the movers and shakers behind the industry. To know how, catch us on the new BizTalk every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. on channel 502 Bernama TV.
Right, thanks for staying with us on BizTalk. If you have any comments, you can email us at biztalk@bernama-tv.com, or you can tweet us at biztalk502, or you can call us at 0326937008. And today I have Dato Peter Ng, the chairman of UCSI Group, talking about building a hospitality and tourism cluster. Now, we've talked about MyCenTHE, the mission, the purpose, but what are the areas that are being focused or targeted on?
Right. One of the key aspects that we are very busy in engaging the various different cluster leaders is this area of work-based learning.
Okay. Work-based learning is?
Yeah, this is essentially about bringing work as part of the entire curriculum design of a diploma program or a degree program. We want to put a great emphasis in making sure that at least 50% of the curriculum are actually work-based.
I see.
And so when the graduate come out of the university, they are work-ready.
Right.
So they can be utilized
immediately.
Immediately.
Yes.
There's no need for retraining and so forth. Yeah?
Right.
So, so in our case, we have now the curriculum ready for any institution who want to participate in this work-based learning. It is approved by the MQA, and so an institution can just adopt that curriculum, and there you go. You can run a diploma program that is work-based.
Right.
So. There are many different configurations one could choose to do their work-based learning. If a provider has a hotel within the institution or with the group, then you could actually have a most ideal situation whereby students will go for work in the hotel in the morning, and then in the afternoon onward, and they would attend classes.
And study, okay.
Yeah. So study and work at the same time.
Right.
And every aspect of the work will translate to the relevant credits for their in fulfillment for their degree or for their diploma.
Right. And I want to know, do you adopt this program from, or this module from other countries you have seen? So
right. This kind of arrangement, work-based learning, obviously has been implemented years and years ago in countries like Germany and Europe and so forth. It is highly effective. It produces very high quality graduates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we also have another comment from Kit Ng, which is the head of school tourism of Berjaya University College of Hospitality. So let's take a look at her comments.
I think because our tourism hospitality program is of good quality, we can attract a lot more international students coming here to be trained. We are very good at that. If you go to places like Mauritius and all that, it's not uncommon that you see the general manager is actually Malaysian. Even like in Australia, some of the chefs, they are all Malaysians. And in China, in fact, there's a lot of Malaysians working there because we know so many languages. That is one of our plus point. So it's just that we need to promote more of how good our program is, or what new programs that we have, such as retails and events, and then try to attract those students to come here and study. I think it's a product. Education is a product as well. Yeah. I think the areas we need to focus on is hospitality, retail, and also events, tourism as well. Tourism in terms of, let's say, a very niche tourism, sort of a natural, cultural kind of tourism. We definitely need more tourism products. So we need to have very creative and professional people to come up with much more interesting tours and product to attract the international tourists. For example, like Singapore, they have very nice casinos and resorts and all that. Here we have them before, but I think we need to put in a lot more creativity to make the product much more innovative and much more attractive.
According to Kit Tong, that we're trying to get students from international as well as our local students. So is MyCenTHE catering for that as well?
Yeah, MyCenTHE, the key thing about MyCenTHE is that we want to produce graduates that are of high caliber.
Okay.
We want to produce graduates that will be able to fill in the gap of what we mentioned about earlier on. Right now, there is already a huge shortage of these people.
Right.
Yeah. So it does not matter whether the students are local or if they are international. We firmly believe that if they are well trained, they would be a good workforce for any country.
Right.
Yeah.
But for now, mostly are we targeting the locals or?
Most universities would have probably about 30–40% of international students already in their student population.
Right.
Of course, some universities are very high on international populations, like 80% and above. But others are at least 40%, 30%. So we are very used to see international students in any campuses now in Malaysia.
Right. Okay, I think people need to understand that MyCenTHE and UCSI
Right.
is two different entities
Right.
and doing two different things so far. So I think you need to explain to people out there and other universities that are also in MyCenTHE.
Right, right. Well, UCSI is the owner of EPP 10.
Right.
Right. EPP 10 is part of the initiative of ETP.
Okay.
Right. So now under EPP 10, we have independent management team.
Okay.
Through that, we run MyCenTHE.
Okay.
Right. So MyCenTHE is not, although it is run by IMT and it sits on EPP 10 that is owned by UCSI University, but it is for every private or private or public university to participate and to come and help us to champion in terms of tourism and hospitality education. So it is for everyone.
Right. So far, how many universities are in collaboration with UCSI for the MyCenTHE?
Right. We have now 3 clusters set up and running. In Sabah, we have INTI College.
Right.
In Sarawak, we have UCSI University. And Penang, we have KDU College.
Okay.
Now,
and what are the clusters for? What are their responsibility?
These clusters, they are the leaders. So they would adopt the same curriculum that has already been approved by NQA.
Okay.
And so they would immediately take this program and run in their own respective university or colleges.
Okay.
All right. So that's what they do. And so we hope that we will be able to quickly produce meet the targets and meet the number of graduates that is needed in the industry. Right. Very quickly, in August, there will be 2 more clusters.
Okay.
One would be in Seremban, and it will be with the East-West College. And then in September, there will be another one in Malacca with a public institution, actually.
Do we really need all these clusters, many clusters?
Yeah, these clusters are extremely good to have because, like we say, we need to produce so many number of graduates, right? By 2020, we need to produce 50,000 of graduates every year, right? So how are we to produce this huge number of graduates? So we need all these clusters, these people to champion and to bring hospitality and tourism education to the public, to educate people that there is tremendous career opportunity in this industry.
Right.
So we need this cluster. We need these leaders who will champion for us.
So every university that's in the cluster or with the MyCenTHE, would they have the same module?
Yes. So if it is, this is a beautiful part about MyCenTHE. If it is program from MyCenTHE, we will all run identical curriculum.
Right.
All of us will run identical curriculum. But the sequence of how work-based modules are being implemented in each institution, you might see a little varying degree of it. But the curriculum structure in terms of how many modules of work term and how many taught courses, they would all be similar.
Right. Okay, we'll take a short break right now, and when we come back, we'll continue discussing on this matter right here on BizTalk.
Menongkah batasan masa, mengupas isu semasa, menjadi saluran pelbagai suara, segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV.
Ayah, saya nak yang ni.
Ini DVD tak ditapis. Tak ada pun perakuan B kat sini. Kalau dah ditapis, sepatutnya perakuan B yang macam ni dilekatkan. DVD lucah pun ada. Awak tahu tak? DVD ni boleh mendatangkan masalah terutamanya kepada anak muda kita. Ini akan menyebabkan mereka terpengaruh dengan keganasan, menyumbang kepada gejala sosial, perbuatan sumbang dan ponteng sekolah. Kita kena bertanggungjawab.
Kalau tak mau beli, cik boleh beredar.
Itulah. Kan dah kena tangkap.
Filem tidak ditapis dan lucah, perosak bangsa dan negara.
Right, thanks for staying with us on BizTalk. If you have any comments, you can email us at biztalk@bernama-tv.com, or you can tweet us at biztalk502, or you can call us at 0326937008. And today I have Dato Peter Ng, the chairman of UCSI Group. We'll be talking about building a hospitality and a tourism cluster. Now, we were talking about clusters that that we have in Malaysia, few clusters. So could you tell us what MyCenTHE has in store for the clusters?
Right. We will be rolling out in every 2 or 3 months, we will likely roll out one cluster.
Okay.
And our aim is to have one cluster at every state. One cluster every state.
Okay.
Right now, we have basically tourism and hospitality cluster. And we are going into other areas as well, such as retailing business.
Okay.
We have also gone into leisure and recreation.
Being part of the MyCenTHE.
Right,
Okay.
right. And so it will cover even areas such as event management.
Okay.
And so any area at all that we can see shortage of manpower in addressing the first objective of MyCenTHE, and that is on human capital.
Right. But why retailing?
Well, you know, tourists, when come to Malaysia,
You're right.
They have been issues on even quality of services.
Yes.
You know, even in simple thing like greeting customers,
Yes.
and being able to communicate in the right language and things like that. So these are all aspects that we want to look at. We want to provide and to be able to compete in the region.
Right.
You know, they are countries like Thailand and Singapore.
Yes.
They are way ahead in terms of luxury holiday makers.
Yes.
Yeah, the people have higher purchasing power because the services they provide are of the level.
Right.
Yeah.
And you talked about Singapore and Thailand.
Right.
And I think it's not only that it's luxury. I think it's also, it's for Thailand, I don't think it's too luxurious to be there. So what do you think Thailand would win?
Yeah.
You know, with compared to Malaysia?
What you see, if you look at the statistic for 2011, all right, Malaysia earned somewhere in the region of 24.7 million US from this industry, and now we have 24.7 million of tourist arrival, and Singapore has about 10.8 million.
Okay.
And then talk about Thailand, 19 over million.
Yes.
Okay. However, we have the highest in terms of tourist arrival. We have 24.7 in comparing with these 3 countries.
Right.
But in terms of revenue, we are lagging behind Singapore and Thailand.
Why is that?
Now, the purchasing power of these tourists for the other 2 countries are much higher.
Okay.
So this explains what we just said, that the luxury holiday makers, they are more likely to go to Singapore and Thailand.
I see.
So we need to ask why they don't prefer Malaysia as a destination.
Right. But they come here, I mean, in droves.
Number is higher, but not in terms of revenue.
Okay.
Right. So there's something there we need to examine.
Right. Did you find out what was it?
This is rather interesting. Okay.
Right.
You know, you talk about Thailand. What are some of their appealing factors?
Yes.
Right. Their key competitive factors. You know, there are many reasons.
Okay.
Right. One is the quality service that they are able to provide.
Right.
Right. Second is their management skill in terms of their resorts, their hotels management skill.
Okay.
You somehow walk into their resorts and hotel, you feel
welcomed.
There is this personal touch.
Warm.
Exactly, and their facility management somehow is above what we could afford or we could do in this country.
Right.
Now in Singapore, their capacity for innovativeness is amazing. You know, for example, you couldn't really actually go and see any great musical in KL.
Yes.
Right? Now, I know Phantom of the Opera is playing again in Singapore. It's staging again in Singapore and in July and so forth until early August. You know, tickets are all practically all sold. You know. Now, look at Malaysia, you know, we are bigger in terms of geographical size.
Yes.
But you see, so where is our innovativeness in terms of offering?
Yes.
You know, for the tourists.
Right.
Yeah. So I think for us, we need to examine and have a look at where are our strengths.
Right.
And then how can we improve, and so that we can compete.
Right.
With even just Thailand and Singapore.
Right. Have we done that kind of research to know what our weaknesses are?
Yeah, there have been research out there that one can easily read. For example, we know that Malaysia to Asia has been a very successful campaign, right? But we need to move on. We cannot just rest at that. We need to move on, and then we then need to study and say what else can we do to create our niche. What else can we do will make competition irrelevant. The blue ocean strategy thinking, right? So things like that. So I think MyCenTHE is set up also as a platform so that the hoteliers, the industry players, and the universities can come together and discuss a platform whereby we can redesign the curriculum.
Right.
We can have a relook at this curriculum and say, how can we change, how can we make our program more industry relevant?
Right.
How can we make it as an industry-driven kind of a program?
And attracting students.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
and talking about students, we also have comments from them talking about the tourists and tourism in Malaysia. Let's look at the clip right now.
Firstly, when I think about that, to study the culinary arts, I studied all about the European countries and all the Asian countries, but here in Malaysia, I think it's better opportunities, better, more, you can say, good institutions, more good faculty here.
I actually gained a lot of experience from a lot of events and a lot of different departments like kitchen, front office, housekeeping, and pastry, baking and pastry the department. And we gone through some wedding dinner events and some annual dinner events. So yeah, we get a lot of experience on it. And when something different specific problems pop up, we have to think very fast and have to solve the problems immediately. Yeah.
For myself, I love to serve people, and I love to work inside to the hotel. And for the current market for hospitality, I think it's growing and enhancedly, because for our country, there's a lot of tourists coming to our country for travels and vacation.
This hospitality, because before that is work-based learning, then we can work while study at the same time, so we can know the real life of the hospitality for our future. Then we have more experience for our learning after that, and also we can know more about what we want to do after that, or more experience about it.
Right, most of them, they applaud the initiative of a work-based learning environment, and they find it very interesting and very useful in terms of their career. So what does that mean to you now?
Yeah, it is very fulfilling and gratifying for providers like us in seeing that our students are better prepared.
Yes.
They're better prepared. they are ready to engage in conversation. They are more confident. And we have hoteliers who have given us feedback, and they think this is a solution.
Yes.
They think this is the way to do it.
Right.
You know, in the olden day, you know, how they've been trained, they will go for all these theoretical things.
Yes.
And then at the end, they'll go for their internship.
Right.
To us, that is way too late.
Right.
So, you know, work terms should come in as early as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can appreciate what they have been taught. Yeah. And they could actually digest it a lot better. Yeah.
If
and
they have hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Right. We'll take another short break, and when we come back, we'll talk more on hospitality and tourism cluster right here on BizTalk.
Kupasan isu-isu semasa bersama tokoh dan personaliti berwibawa. Pendedahan isu-isu menarik. Semuanya dalam Hello Malaysia di Bernama TV.
Tengah SMS siapa tu?
Ayah, Bu. Saya tengah semak saman kereta, Ma. Semak saman? Pakai telefon saja. Senang je. Saya pakai SMS. Saya hantar ke MySMS 15888.
Bukan setakat semak je tau. Banyak lagi.
Ya? Apa lagi?
Kamu boleh semak keputusan SPM dan STPM anak kamu. Semak status PLKN, buat aduan, semak status MyCard dan banyak lagi. Tak payah beratur panjang, minyak kereta pun jimat. Layari www.mysms.gov.my. MySMS 15888, mudah dan ringkas.
Right, thanks for staying with us on BizTalk. If you have any comments, you can email us at biztalk@bernama-tv.com, or you can tweet us at biztalk502, or you can call us at 0326937008. And today we're talking about building a hospitality and tourism cluster with Dato Peter Ng, the chairman of UCSI Group. Now, talking about Twitter, we have a couple of Twitter questions from our Twitter viewers. So let's take a look at our Twitter question number 1. In my opinion, conversing in English for people working in the hospitality industry is still a concern in Malaysia. Any way to raise the bar? Okay, I noticed that as well. Even a simple question, it's hard for them to answer in a proper, simple sentence.
Right.
Your opinion on this?
Right. This is a difficult question to answer because. The ability to converse in English or in any particular language, it does not fall in the shoulder of just at the university level. Yeah.
Okay.
So it has a lot to do with the primary and secondary school system as well, how they are taught and how they are being exposed in the use of the language.
Okay.
Yeah. At the university level, we do our very best in elevating and upgrading their ability to converse in the language. So there is a minimum requirement for them to achieve. Otherwise, they will have to be kicked back and continue with their remedial English classes first. So that is the bar that we have set.
The standard.
They have to reach at least IELTS 5.5 or TOEFL about.
This is before they go into the university or when they are studying?
That is before they enter the program.
Oh.
So there is such a requirement at the university.
So if they don't have that?
They don't have that. They have to continue to pursue what we call the English Enrichment Program,
Right.
EEP program at the university.
Okay.
So they have to go through that for 8 months or even a year
Okay.
To achieve the right level.
Right.
Yeah,
And
of competency.
talking about rural people,
Yeah.
we know that the language is hard for them, English especially.
Right.
So, and knowing that the money is constrained as well.
Right.
So, is MyCenTHE helping out these people, especially in the language?
Right. This is always a concern at MyCenTHE because we want to make education accessible,
Yes.
especially to people from rural area.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about loans and funds from PTPK.
Yes.
From hopefully we could also use funds from HRDF and
Right.
so forth. Of course, we should not forget that PTN also gave loan
Yes.
to our students for diploma level. They are able to get up to 16,000
I see.
to help to subsidize their education.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in a university environment, it's a lot easier to raise the bar because they're in an environment where
Yes.
everyone is learning. Everyone wants to quickly get over with this
Yes.
issue
Yes.
of English competency. The teachers are very hands-on, and teachers are very patient, and they're able to teach them and elevate them in a shortest possible
Right.
period.
And speaking of the language is one thing. Confident
Yeah.
of them speaking the language is
Right.
another. So how can you instill confidence for them to speak the language?
Right. So we give them lots of presentation.
Right.
They have to do a lot of presentation, group discussion. So lots of role play.
Okay.
I think the curriculum and teaching methodology at university level will help a lot.
Right.
There is hardly any module or any course where you can just do your own thing.
Right.
You have to engage yourself in a team environment. It's always about teamwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take a look at the second Twitter question right now. This is from Shafiq Ikwan. They said Malaysians are not creative and hardworking enough to garner more tourists. Is that true? So you just mentioned that Malaysian is not creative. Can you just elaborate what do you mean by not creative or hardworking enough?
I think this has been said a lot of time, has been said again and again that Malaysians or Asian in general are not creative enough. Again, I like to stress that I think the teaching pedagogy is one area where I think we need to look at.
Okay.
There have been a lot of teaching about helping people to become more innovative, more creative, and so forth. And one of those things is actually the teaching from Blue Ocean Strategy. One of the things we can do actually to become more creative is to have certain kind of framework that will help them to think out of the box.
Right.
Right. So one of the lessons that I can draw from that teaching is this thing about challenging the boundary, challenging our boundary. Another way, if we are consistently being molded to think within the boundary of certain industries, say for example, and you are not given the liberty to reconstruct the industry boundary, then what essentially you're producing at the end is the same kind of product over and over again, perhaps maybe just different product packaging.
Yes.
But if you are daring enough to stretch the boundary and to redefine the boundary for a particular industry, at the end you come up with a product that is totally innovative and different, and perhaps at one look you will say, well, is this really products that belong to this industry?
Yes.
So that kind of thinking, I think, will stretch our creativity.
Right.
So I would advise our viewer this evening to have a look at this thinking
creative
of the Blue Ocean.
thinking. Okay, right. We are almost to the end of the program. So, what is in store for the next 5 years, or probably up to 2020, from MyCenTHE?
Well, MyCenTHE will continue to create more clusters, like we talked about earlier on, and we want to endeavor to ensure that every state would have a cluster, right? We want to invite, in fact, more colleges and universities who are listening out there tonight, and that to come and talk to us and offer us perhaps solutions, perhaps
Yes.
thinking that is very different.
Right.
And I would dare to say that the MQA these days are very, very willing and ready to accept different thinking and different way of doing things
Right.
in order to produce better quality of graduates that
Yes.
will meet the human
Standard,
capital
yes.
demand of this industry.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Dato Peter, for being with us and talking about building a hospitality and tourism cluster. I wish we have more time to discuss on this. And thank you so much for tuning in to BizTalk, and I hope we meet again real soon. I'm Surati Sanusi. Goodbye.